On today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, Joker 2 gets an R rating for, and I quote, extreme violence and full nudity? All right. Supergirl apparently has found its director from the same guy who just directed that incredible movie, Dumb Money and I, Tonya. And Fantastic Four has cast its Silver Surfer. But it's not the Silver Surfer from the comics that you're thinking about. We're going to talk about that and a whole bunch more. The John Campea Show podcast starts right now. Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming to you from right here in our quaint little studio, brought to you today in part by our friends at Mint Mobile. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies and movie news, TV and streaming, and all sorts of good stuff. Not just giving you our opinions, but giving you information and context so you guys can form your own well-informed opinions, whether they're the same or different than ours. Joining me in studio today, got Ray Orr.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
We got Jonathan Voico.
Good morning.
And most importantly, we have you guys. It's just three of us in here today, so we are going to sail right along with you guys joining us, and here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about those topics that I just listed off. Then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. Now, if you have a live comment or question, thought, opinion, observation that you'd like us to address, go ahead and use the super chat feature and send it in that way. And as long as it's appropriate for us to read on the show, we'll address it in the last part of the show. Also, just a quick reminder for you guys, the John Campea Show podcast is, well, primarily a podcast. So make sure you go and subscribe to the John Campea Show podcast on your favorite podcasting app of choice, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever one it is. So that way, the next time you need your fix of the John Campea Show, but you can't be in front of a YouTube video, you got the audio version right there. All right, guys. With that all down, let's get into it here, shall we? And we're going to start off with this. One of my more anticipated movies coming up the next while is the new Joker 2 Folie à Deux. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yep.
I only took 7 years of French in school. You'd think I'd be able to say it better. Bonjour, je m'appelle Jean. Comment t'appelles-tu? Anyway, so I'm looking forward to saying they added Lady Gaga. Never thought they'd do a sequel, and yet here they are. And now we've got our official rating for it. According to Deadline, the movie got an R rating. They said this: Joker Folie à Deux, Todd Phillips' musical follow-up to his 2019 DC film, has landed an R rating from the Motion Picture Association. In its rating bulletin published this morning, the association said the film is rated R for strong violence, language throughout, some sexuality, and brief, yet full, nudity. I got to admit, I'm sure it has been there. I'm just saying, I don't myself recall, maybe I've seen it hundreds of times. I'm saying I don't recall seeing the warning in an MPA rating for full nudity. I've seen, ratings for nudity, sexual situations, violence, whatever. I don't know that I've ever saw full nudity, which makes me wonder if, in the words of South Park's ode to Game of Thrones.
Oh no!
If it's lots of wiener, 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 flaccid wiener, like is that what we're talking about? Is it like full Joaquin Junk sailing around on the screen as he's singing a musical?
And also, is it painted like a clown?
Is it painted also face painted like a clown?
Folie à nude.
Folie à nude.
I don't know, man. That's all I could add to conversation.
That's a pretty good ad. I'll take it.
And I also wonder, are we going to get a Jason Segel? Do you guys remember Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
Oh yeah.
When he drops his towel in front of him, he goes, "I got a surprise for you." Like, is that what we're going to get?
I would like to know, way ahead of time, so I
can take a bathroom break.
could either pre-order or not pre-order. That's these tickets.
Bathroom break.
I can either order or pre-order. Yeah. So look. What I am excited about is strong violence. That's pretty. That makes me think. Whereas, the first Joker movie, as great as it was, nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards, won Joaquin Phoenix an Oscar. I loved it. I love that movie. But it really was a different interpretation of Joker, right? And maybe I'm reading into things that aren't there. We as movie fans do that sometimes, and I'm as guilty of it as anybody. So maybe I am. But when I read stuff like strong violence and things like that, it makes me wonder if we are going to see something of an evolution, an evolving of Joaquin's Joker into a more familiar Joker. Like, I don't know that we are. I'm not, like, just because it says some, strong violence, it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to see Joker laughing with a crowbar, beating a kid to death with it. That's a Death in the Family, for those who don't know the reference. I don't know, but it gives me some hope that they will. Now, what do we know about this movie so far? Okay, so we know Lady Gaga is going to be Harley Quinn. I think she could be a fantastic choice. We'll see how it turns out. That they are going with a lot of music. It seems to be going the Moulin Rouge route. They said in yesterday's press release that's going to have like 15 songs.
Right.
That's a lot. Like remixes of old popular songs.
They're pop songs, so.
Yeah, now what I don't want Joker to be is a full-blown musical.
Right.
Right? Like, I don't mind something like Moulin Rouge where it's a lot of dialogue, song, a lot of dialogue, song. What I don't know if what I want from Joker, though, is a Les Mis, where basically
the story's told in song.
Yeah, 95% of it is song, and most of the dialogue and story is presented through song.
I think it'll be more like a Moulin Rouge, where they're expressing an emotion of that moment.
See, I hope you're right. Yeah. Like, that's what I kind of hope that they're doing. But then again, they did such a banger job with the first one.
Yeah.
And the very fact that Joaquin Phoenix actually agreed to do, remember, he was not under contract to do a second Joker, right? He did not sign a multi-film deal.
Yeah.
This movie simply doesn't happen if Joaquin Phoenix looks at the script and says, nah, then the movie doesn't happen. But he signed up for it, to the best of my knowledge, the first time he's ever done a sequel. So that's going to give me some hope in there. As far as the sexuality, nudity, bring it on.
This is the type of movie that could get some Oscar attention.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the last
100%.
One, yeah.
100%. Especially coming off the first one, right?
Yeah. This could be one of those, how did they make so much money movies? Or how did this make so much money movies?
See, I'm going to go out on a limb, though. I'm going to say this. Whereas the first one made $1 billion, I don't think this one will make $1 billion. I think it'll be a big hit. But part of the novelty is gone, like people exploring what it was. And let's be honest, as much as I loved it, not everyone loved the first Joker, right? So I think this is going to be a big, big, big hit. Maybe some Oscar chances, but I don't know that it's going to get $1 billion.
But you do add Harley Quinn to this world, which is going to interest a lot of people, especially played by this lady right here, Lady Gaga.
Yeah, but we had Harley Quinn in James Gunn's Suicide Squad, and that didn't make any money. And we've had Lady Gaga in a couple of movies. They weren't necessarily big blockbusters.
But I do wonder if this is going to have some crossover appeal.
Yeah.
Because of the musical facet. So now it's going to attract other viewers that are like, oh, I hear this one, like, it's so fun.
And I hate to say this, I never watched the first one, but I am interested in watching this one.
You totally got to watch the first one.
But because everyone was saying it's depressing.
Look, yeah. It's not, because it's not your traditional, this is one of the things I love about it. It's not your traditional comic book movie, right? It's a Martin Scorsese envisioned what this world would look like if one of these characters was dropped in something of a more grounded, visceral, and real world. And it is kind of depressing and funny and shocking and all that kind of stuff in one. It's truly a great movie, which is why it got nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Joker 2, not surprisingly, gets the R rating, but for things they call strong violence, sexuality, full nudity? I don't know. What does that lead you to believe, if anything at all? Are you looking forward to this movie? Maybe you are. Maybe you're one of the people who didn't like the original one. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, the James Gunn's brand new DCU is coming. Going to really be kicked off in the theaters next year with Superman, formerly known as Superman Legacy, now just Superman. I cannot wait. I love James Gunn as a filmmaker. I mean, everything he's done, from being able to do these small shoestring budget films. Still my favorite film of his No matter how good Guardians is, no matter how good I love Peacemaker, whatever, my favorite film of James Gunn's is still Slither. This shoestring budget little horror comedy film he did, it just really shows off what he can do. Obviously, the massive success he had with Guardians of the Galaxy. Then he came over and made just a remarkable film with his Suicide Squad. Didn't make any money, but man, that movie was great. Then he made Peacemaker, which is like the #1 most successful thing WB's ever put on television, or at least DC has ever put on television. He does incredible stuff. I love the guy. Now, we found out a little while ago that Supergirl will be a part of this new DCU, and we know who's going to be playing it. How do you pronounce her name? Alcott?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, from the House of the Dragon, right? And which I thought was a great choice. She's going to be awesome in this. Well, now the most important piece of the puzzle may be in place, as we may have a director for the Supergirl film. This comes to us from Deadline, who writes the following. Cruella and Tonya filmmaker Craig Gillespie is in talks, and by the way, not only those two, but also the recent Dumb Money, which is absolutely freaking fantastic. Anyway, so Dumb Money, Cruella, and Tonya filmmaker Craig Gillespie is in talks to direct Supergirl for Warner Brothers DC Studios, we can tell you. The plan is for DC to shoot the movie for Q4 after they've completed James Gunn's Superman, which is shooting in Georgia for July 11th, 2025 theatrical release. DC bosses Gunn and Peter Safran are producing. DC Executive Vice President Chantal Nong is executive producing, we hear. All right, listen. There's a lot of different things that can go into making us as film fans interested in a film. Whether it's the pure subject matter itself, whether it's the cast that gets attached, maybe it's the writer. But I still contend the most important piece of the puzzle is who's directing it. That ultimately, not the only important thing. There are a lot of other important factors too. I'm just saying probably the most significant one is that if they can land a guy like Craig Gillespie, which by the way, Cruella was a way better film than it had any business being. Tonya got Margot Robbie her Academy Award nomination. And by the way, that movie is just brilliant as well. And then, of course, the recent Dumb Money.
Which, man, that should have made more money.
Oh, look, they basically did no marketing campaign for that film.
So
the only
good.
reason I even knew about it was because they showed off a bunch of it at CinemaCon last year.
Yeah.
And it blew all of our minds. Like, if you guys remember, after we came out of that presentation, they did this a presentation for Dumb Money. We came out of that and we were like, this thing looks freaking amazing. So good.
Yep.
Paul Dano, Seth Rogen, Ron Swanson. Why do I keep freezing? Nick Offerman. I mean, the cast is just crazy good.
Yep.
Based on a true story. They took some liberties, but whatever. The movie was great. You take a guy like this with this ability to create incredible characters, take drama. He's worked within a pop cultural sense before, having done Cruella as well. And again, he made that a much better movie than it had any business being. And he turned out product like Tonya and Dumb Money. I'll tell you what, Supergirl, this movie has gone from I'll see it when they first said they were going to do it, to, okay, I'm kind of interested when they cast Supergirl, to now I'm going, all right, now I want to see this. Now, you got Craig Gillespie directing this in a superhero genre? Yeah. So that's a great picture, by the way. I don't know who made that.
I don't know. I just saw that. I just found this today. I'm like, wow, that's the best one yet.
That's a very good picture.
With Millie
Whoever
in
put
there.
that one together.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, sign me up. Now, the question will become, can DC and Warner Brothers get the general movie-going audience excited about a Supergirl film?
Yep.
They had their CW show, and it lasted a bunch of seasons, but the reality is its ratings were never all that high. So that's going to be the interesting part here.
Well, there's no a way around it. She's always going to be, associated with Superman. So I think what's important is they differentiate this character from whatever James Gunn is going to bring us, just enough where people see her as a separate, entity,
Right.
and want to go see what she's up to. Because if they're gonna just mix her, because they're introducing her in the Superman film, right? As we know,
I believe so.
We don't know.
Oh, we don't know?
That's the rumor. The rumor we are. I mean, the fact that they went out and cast her so early, even before they had a director, suggests that she will be appearing in the Superman film.
I like this character a lot. I like Supergirl. I think it's a great character, especially the last thing they released. One I read, The Woman of Tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah,
It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, if they follow it in sort of that way, I'm all on board. I'll be watching this. I don't care. I love this character.
They did such a good job with her too in the Flash film, because Sasha Calle.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. I got it. I
Only
learned.
100 times.
I can learn stuffs. She was very good, but they needed to do a new one. I mean, so that was kind of clear. Here's the thing for me, and I admit this, and I'm not saying I'm right to feel this way. I'm not saying I'm wrong to feel this way. I don't generally get on board with derivative characters, right? Generally, not that there aren't exceptions, but you got Superman. Well, we got Supergirl. We got Flash. We got Kid Flash.
Yeah, I got you.
We've got Hulk. We got She-Hulk. Like I'm usually not like really on board with the derivative characters. That being said, there are exceptions, and attaching a filmmaker like this, casting the girl that you got, being produced by James Gunn, these things are starting to add up for me. And now I'm like, okay, yeah, now I want to see this.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because there's this sense of excitement I'm getting every time we get news, because the ball is actually starting to roll.
Yeah.
And next year, I can't believe we're actually going to be introduced to this new DC.
Yeah, and by the way, we got the animated thing coming too. We got Creature Commandos.
If you could pre-order your CinemaCon tickets for next year, you should do them right away, because I think next year's CinemaCon is going to be explosive.
Oh, I think they're probably gonna show Superman at next year's CinemaCon.
I absolutely was thinking that too this morning.
Yeah, they're definitely going to show it at CinemaCon next year. I have no doubt. As long as they like the movie they've produced,
or at least a trailer.
Well, no, we'll long have a
we'll
trailer
already
by
have a
next.
trailer.
Yeah, we'll long have a trailer by next CinemaCon, but it'll be interesting to see. Question is for you guys: what do you think about this? Craig Gillespie is apparently now in talks. Remember, by the time you get to the point that you are in talks, that means the studio's decided he's the one they want. He's decided he wants to do the movie. Now they're just trying to hammer out the details. What would you think about him? I personally love this choice if it ends up being him. We'll have to see, though. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Don't know if you heard, but there's a Fantastic Four movie coming. We recently got all the casting announcements for the main four characters. A lot of people are still waiting with bated breath to find out, A, if there will be a Doctor Doom, and B, who will play that Doctor Doom, if indeed they are there. But another stalwart in Fantastic Four comics, a name that a lot of people know, Silver Surfer, is apparently going to be in it. But there's more than one character in the comic books that has had the power cosmic and even carried the moniker Silver Surfer, and it's not the one that most people know. They've gone with a different Silver Surfer from the comics. This comes from the Hollywood Reporter. They wrote this. The Silver Surfer was introduced in Fantastic Four number 48 as the Herald of Galactus, a planet-eating entity, though that version of the Silver Surfer was an alien astronomer known as Norrin Radd. Garner, that's Julia Garner, is said to be playing a different Silver Surfer known as Shala Bal. Garner is a three-time Emmy not nominated, Emmy winner for playing Ruth Langmore on the Netflix series Ozark, a show I know Rob loves. She also earned another Emmy nomination for leading Inventing Anna, the series about real-life con artist Anna Delvey. Coming up, she has the Wolfman due out next year from Universal and Blumhouse. All right, so they went out and got themselves I'm going to say it more calmly, a three-time Emmy winner. A four-time Emmy-nominated actress to go and play the role. Now, everybody knew what was coming. The conversation online right now is not about, my God, they went and got themselves a three-time Emmy Award-winning actress. Mm-hmm. That's not the conversation.
What is it, John?
Yeah, what's the
conversation, John? Tell me.
Boobs.
Oh.
and the fact that they're there. The conversation is, of course, well, wait a minute. Well, of course, you get a lot of people who, understandably, you get a lot of people who jump the gun and say they're gender swapping.
Gender swapping.
Silver Surfer, which, by the way, for the record, I wouldn't have an issue with that either. But a lot of people jump to the conclusion that they're gender swapping Silver Surfer. Actually, they're not. Shalal Ball is a character. All you got to do is go to the Marvel database, and they describe that she is 70 now. She was a romantic love interest of the traditional Silver Surfer, who in certain stories was also granted the power cosmic, but in another iteration, she was actually known as, she had the moniker, according to the Marvel database, of Silver Surfer or whatever. So they're going with a Silver Surfer who is a comic book character directly from the comics. They're using this character in the movie. Now, that doesn't mean that the traditional Silver Surfer, Rad, won't be a part of the MCU somewhere or at some point.
Right.
It may very well be a part of the story. We may or may not know. Now, to anybody who, though, would say the only way this can work is if you have the traditional Silver Surfer, I would in a very friendly way remind my friends that they did do a Fantastic Four with the traditional Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
Did that make that movie good?
Define good.
Define good. They did one with the other Silver Surfer. Now, was it because they used the traditional Silver Surfer that movie wasn't good? No, obviously not. I'm just saying, to anybody who would say the only way it can work is if it's that character from the comics instead of this character from the comics, I would say, well, they did do one with that character from the comics and it didn't work. Do I think they could do it again? Absolutely. Would I like to see them take another shot at that character? Absolutely. Nothing wrong with doing another character from the comics. I mean, listen, yes, this one is a more obscure character, but so was Star-Lord, and so was Groot, and so was Rocket. And like, the average person had never even heard of these characters before. So you would think that people would be more like, oh, okay, so they're not gender swapping Rad. This is another character from the comics. This is a character from the comics. But no, that doesn't seem to be appeasing anybody, because there shouldn't be boobs. I mean, that's basically it. The bottom line is there's just a lot of people who don't want to see women get major roles. Now, that being said, there are going to be some people who are big Rad Silver Surfer fans that are just going to be disappointed that they're not getting that Silver Surfer from the comics. Totally understandable. Totally understandable. Like, if you were kind of hoping, like, some people were hoping to see Wolverine pop up in Deadpool 2, and it didn't happen. Disappointed people. Totally understandable. There are big fans of Silver Surfer that were kind of hoping to see that Rad Silver Surfer show up in this, and he's not. Disappointed. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Who's to say that Silver Surfer is not going to show up down the line? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he very well could at some point.
And you won't get his entrance because you didn't want to watch the first movie with the girl. I mean, life is too short, man. I get if you don't want to watch a movie because of something that you don't like, but sometimes you're going to miss out on something fantastic.
I see what you did there.
You know, I hate pickles, right? I don't like pickles at all. But then one day someone said, hey,
let's pickle your foot.
We got these fried pickles. It's different. You should try it. And I must say, they are less gross than regular pickles. So, but I still tried it. I mean, come on. You just got to give things a shot sometimes.
Here's the problem. I've had many movies that I did not think would be good, but I did not decide wouldn't be good until I went and saw it and checked them out. I didn't think the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie was going to be good, right?
You're forced into that kind of.
I did not have faith in that film. I didn't. But I didn't force myself to say I know it's bad until I went and saw it for myself. And I ended up loving it. I had a really good time with it. Same thing with the Harley Quinn show. Now I love it. Same thing with Arcane. And now I love it. Look, it's cool that there are people out there who are just going to feel like, oh, I was kind of hoping to see this character in the movie. Okay, we're not, at least in this movie. The question I would have for my fellow film fans is, are you now going to let the fact that there's an element of this movie that you were hoping was going to be there, but that's not going to be a part of it, now turn you off this movie? Or are you going to keep an open mind and go in and see what they do?
Yeah.
Now, the reality is there's already you could already see it online. There's already a lot of people who have decided this sucks, who have decided that having a woman there is the end of the world. You've already seen that. Nothing you can do about those people. What I'm asking my fellow film fans is, are you going to be one of those? Or are you going to be, because by the way, nobody reads Fantastic Four. It's really not an important thing to 99% of the population. It's really not. Doesn't matter how much I wish it was. It's really not. I mean, we all know that, right? Like we all understand that.
But
we'll see.
Let's be honest. The MCU hasn't been that great lately, and that just gives more fuel to the fire when they announce these things. You know what I mean? There's some fans who are already unhappy. Let's just face it. You know, with what's going on, they announce something like that, they'll find something in that to, you know, not like either.
Well, I mean, yeah, look, there's you get to the point because, listen, as I've talked about in the show so many times, regardless of whether you're a big MCU fan or a big MCU hater, we can all agree that since Endgame, Marvel has not been firing on all cylinders, right? Doesn't matter how much you love Marvel or how much you hate Marvel. I think we can all agree with that statement. Marvel, the last couple of years, has not been firing on all cylinders. We can all at least agree on that. My personal opinion is a little more negative than that. They've had a couple of things that are great, a couple of things that are fantastic. But overall, their quality level has decreased significantly. But, again, my whole thing is, now that Kevin Feige actually has his power back, let's see what happens. They went for an unconventional character choice from the comics, but it is a character from the comics. And we'll see if it works.
And imagine if they introduced her like they did in that presentation where Chadwick Boseman came out. During that time, that era of Marvel, everyone would be like, woo! Yeah, you know, like, aren't you Silver Surfer?
Yeah.
Them doing that right now, it wouldn't be the same. People
it'd be a totally different thing. But again, I would just say, I would remind my fellow film fans, they did do a Fantastic Four movie with the traditional Silver Surfer, and that didn't save it. No more than them not using the traditional Silver Surfer is going to do anything negative. This movie's going to be good or bad based on whether it's good or bad. This movie is not going to be good or bad whether they used the Ball version of Silver Surfer or the Rad version of Silver Surfer. That's not going to be the determining factor whether this movie is good or bad. Because if this movie's bad, if this is badly written, let's say like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. If this movie is badly written and badly developed and badly executed, like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, having a new this Ball from the comics isn't going to save the movie. Mm-hmm. But, newsflash, if it had been the Rad version of the Silver Surfer, that wasn't going to save the movie either. So if it's going to be bad, it's going to be bad. And if it's going to be good, it's going to be good. So, you know, I just think everybody needs to take a deep breath and actually judge the movie on its own merits. Not about what you wanted it to be, not about what I thought it would be. Just calm down, watch the movie, and then judge it on its own merits.
In terms of the actual film itself, did we just cast the villain of the film, or?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. Because, like, at least the iterations that I'm aware of, the Ball Silver Surfer was, because there are iterations of the comics where, like, Silver Surfer is an adversary to the Fantastic Four and others. Ball was always a heroic, to the best of my knowledge of the stories.
I know nothing of this.
Yeah, the ones that I'm aware of, in both instances, she's a heroic figure, right? Okay. So I don't think she's going to be the antagonist.
So we got one more announcement coming.
At least.
We got one more announcement.
At least. So, I mean, unless it's like a Superman versus Godzilla Superman versus Godzilla, Superman versus Batman situation, where it's like, okay, they're both heroes, but they're adversarial against each other. They might go that route. I don't think they will. I think we've got, now that doesn't necessarily mean I think we're about to see Galactus either, but maybe it's a Doom. Maybe it is an introduction of Galactus. I don't know. There's still so much that's unknown and on the table.
It's going to be Galactius and it's his sister.
But all I know is this. You got a fabulous director directing this thing. Great writers writing it. A tremendous cast so far. And whether this was the character you wanted to see in the movie or not, They just got a 3-time
Yeah.
Emmy Award winner to play
3
the role.
No,
Come on. If you're a real movie fan, you got to go, okay, well, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, so, yeah.
you're adding talent. And again, people are like, well, I'd rather have seen this person, but we don't know the story. For all we know, we've hypothesized there's a time jump.
Yeah.
And so I not that like 40, 50, 60 years is anything to the Silver Surfer, but where they run into now this Silver Surfer, that's, if there is a time jump, that would make sense,
I mean, yeah. So
we don't know
look,
the
a lot
story.
of possibilities. And I would just say this, look, I am not saying there's no reason to feel skeptical.
Oh, there's
Marvel, let's face it, Marvel has given us many reasons the last couple of years to be skeptical of what they're going to do. Nothing wrong with being skeptical, perfectly healthy feeling, having a little bit of skepticism about what's coming up and stuff like that and saying, all right, but skepticism shouldn't close your mind, right? And so, let's see. I mean, they're adding great talent, great director, great writers. So let's see what turns out. And now this is going to be a character that most people aren't familiar with. That's fine. We'll just see how well it works. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? We've now got a new character for the Fantastic Four movie, Shala Ball, a little-known character from the comics who also has the moniker The Silver Surfer. But they got a 3-time Emmy winner to play her. How do you feel about it? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. All right, guys. With that stuff down, we still got a bunch of other things going on in the world of movie news that we want to catch you up on. So this is a little segment we call In Other News. Jonathan, what do we got?
Well, first up, we've got Moana 2 has just released its first official image showing a clearly aged up Moana. The new film synopsis reads as follows. After receiving an unexpected call from her wayfinding ancestors, Moana must journey to the far seas of Oceania and into dangerous, long-lost waters for an adventure unlike anything she's ever faced. John, do you buy or sell the new Moana image?
Oh, I got it up on my screen here. I buy it. I really, really like it. And like, number one, I like the fact that she's clearly now aged up. A few years have passed. We're not picking up right at the end of the last movie. Look, and I don't care. I am an unabashed, huge fan of that first movie. I still maybe sing the song to myself in my car a couple of times a month. There's a line where the sky meets the sea.
That's confirmed. You've sung it in front of.
I probably sing in front of everybody.
I would
it
have
calls me.
I thought you were talking about You're Welcome because I felt like.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. All right, what's next?
All right. Reacher star Alan Ritchson, we've all heard of him. His career may be heading upward, but he says he'll...
Might want a different picture.
Well, that's Alan Ritchson. That's his new role.
That's what he looks like
He's
without
playing the role
makeup.
of Moana. Anyway, as his career may be heading upward, he's absolutely going to stay with Reacher. As he says, I owe it to the audience to explore as many of these books as my body will allow. And I owe it to the people that took a shot on me when I was a huge risk for them. They've given me a real career. So, John, do you buy or sell Ritchson saying he'll stay on Reacher?
You know what? Normally, I wouldn't say that you should stay on anything for too long, but I buy this. Listen, Alan Ritchson is a guy who's been around the business and the industry for a number of years, but he's never broken through, right? He's never become a household name or anything like that. And they took a real gamble on him when they did Reacher, and it's a gamble that has paid off in spades. And to me, it's really nice hearing a movie star or TV star at this point, he's becoming a movie star as well, say, you know what? Most people wouldn't know who I am if it wasn't for this property. And these people took a chance on me when nobody else was giving me A-list leading roles. Yep. And so as long as they want me, I'm going to play Reacher. Mm-hmm. I love hearing that. So for me, it's a big buy. All right. What's next?
Okay. Well, from the studio that brought us Pooh, Blood, and Honey comes the new Bambi horror film, Bambi, The Reckoning, as Doc Holliday would say. The first teaser trailer is out and shows a murderous deer flipping a car. John, buy or sell the trailer for Bambi, The Reckoning?
I buy it.
Whoa!
I know.
Whoa!
Oh, it hurts me to say it.
Oh my God! Well, shocker, man!
It hurts me to say it because I'll tell you what. Pooh, Blood, and Honey totally sucks. It's the idea of Winnie the Pooh, Blood, and Honey was very, very novel and really interesting, but it completely sucked. And the novelty's gone. The gimmick is gone, right? Okay, oh, no babies, blah, 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 right? But remember I was just talking about earlier about like whatever your expectations on, judge something on its own merits. So even though I thought this is the dumbest crap I've ever heard, I hit play on the Bambi trailer, and when that bad CGI, no, it is not Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Oh, sorry.
But when that damn poorly CGI deer tromps out and like tosses a car and stuff like that, I would be lying to you, my audience, if I didn't tell you, kind of thought to myself, I'd like to see more. So I have no
One
doubt.
last time. Do you buy or sell this Bambi The Reckoning?
I buy it.
Oh my.
Listen,
For the record,
I totally think it's going to be garbage. I do. I think it'll be complete garbage, but I can't lie. I got to be honest. The trailer got me intrigued. All right. What's next?
all right. Yesterday, we discussed the developments of Skydance entering into a 30-day exclusive window to possibly negotiate the acquisition of Paramount. Well, turns out that before those talks began, Paramount received a $27 billion offer to buy all of Paramount, and they turned it down. John, buy or sell Paramount turning down $27 billion purchase offer?
Okay, my first thought is, are you insane? But I buy it. I mean, the whole notion that, you know, you hold out, don't take the first thing. You're in a bad spot, but that doesn't mean you should get desperate and take the first thing. If you think there could be better offers out there, like this Skydance thing, but I do know this. Paramount has kind of backed themselves into a corner a little bit, because if you do make a deal with Skydance now, it better be better than $27 billion, right? Because you've got people who have interests in this that you are going to shortchange if you don't. So you've kind of put your back against the wall, but you know what? I'm completely into the fact that they're betting on themselves. They think they can get a bit better deal, so I buy it.
Yeah, and I think Apollo might have been threatening to break up the company. So that
There was that, but that they were threatening to break it up with their original $11 billion offer.
Right.
Their $27 billion offer was like, you know what? We'll take the whole thing.
Oh.
But so it'll be interesting to see what happens here.
Yep.
All right, what's next?
All right, and finally up, well, it's now official. Disney has defeated Nelson Peltz in the Disney shareholders vote for the board of directors. According to the preliminary results, Iger won re-election with 94% of the votes cast in his favor. Maria Elena Lagomasino, the incumbent Disney director whom Peltz had urged investors to kick off the board, along with board member Michael Froman, received twice as many votes as Peltz. John, buy or sell, overwhelmingly defeating Peltz's takeover bid?
Oh yeah, I buy this. And it was really good to see that it wasn't even close. Like Peltz and the guy holding his leash, Ike Perlmutter, got their asses whooped. Like this is more than a defeat. They got humiliated. They got humiliated and embarrassed. And I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to see that. Now listen, again, I think there are some valid points to be brought up of criticism about the Disney board and the direction of the company. I do. I think there are some valid criticisms that can be had. But the answer was not Peltz and his shadow lord Ike Perlmutter. Yeah. That, whatever concerns or problems is, that was not the answer. It's like I've got a sliver on my finger. Better amputate your arm. That's exactly what this would have been. And so I'm glad to see not only did they lose, which I expected they would lose, but I was really excited to see that enough Disney shareholders, people, you know, the average people who actually own the company, that the shareholders so overwhelmingly recognized what a butt-ass stupid idea it would have been to give any leverage to Perlmutter and Peltz. So yeah, I'm really happy to hear about that. All right, guys. With that down, we're now going to move on to the most important part of our show, which is hearing from you guys. But before we do, we're going to take a quick moment and thank the sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, my mobile service provider, and they should be yours, Mint Mobile. Guys, we want to take a moment and thank a sponsor of today's video, Mint Mobile. After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by overpriced wireless providers, if we've learned anything, is that there's always a catch. So when I heard that for a limited time, all Mint Mobile wireless plans are $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they sell wireless services online. They cut out the cost of retail stores and pass those sweet savings on to you. And guys, you know, ever since I switched over to Mint Mobile, I am spending less than 1/3 on my wireless bills than I used to with one of the major carriers. So say goodbye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with your existing contacts. So guys, to get this new customer offer and your new 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions may apply. See Mint Mobile for details. And thank you to our friends at Mint Mobile for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's get over to the important stuff. Your thoughts, theories, opinions, and questions. Jonathan, what we got up first?
All right, first up, we've got, let me shift this over a little bit. James Germain says, Kong needs to be arrested for child abuse after what he did to Diddy Kong in Godzilla X Kong. Keep it filthy.
I laughed my ass off when that happened. Now, of course, remember, this child is the size of an apartment building and all that kind of stuff, and plotted to kill King Kong. He got what was coming to him.
Like 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
He was like,
for those of you who have seen the movie, you know what we're talking about. For those of you who haven't seen the movie, just trust me, it's awesome. It's really awesome. All right, what's next?
Okay. Dildar the Glorious says, you have to have negative brain cells to think Peltz was going to be the savior of Disney. Having less women, POC, or people of color, and gay people won't magically make their movies better. They need better writing.
Yeah, see, and here's the wall I normally will run into with people who are, that movie was bad because there's a girl in it, or that movie was bad because it's got, okay. Here's the problem that I run into. And you can see that their brains start to fry when I put this to them. I say, okay, let's take that movie. We agree it was a bad movie, whatever movie we're talking about. We agree it was a bad movie. All right. So you're saying that if everything in the movie was the same, but that female character was a guy, that magically the movie then would have been good? Like if everything else in the movie was the same, but they just changed that female character to a guy, that makes the movie good to you? No. Okay, so yeah, we agree the movie was bad, but you just keep believing that it was bad because a woman was in the role. And here's something you hear all the time. This is how I know I'm really talking to somebody who flunked kindergarten. Is when they go, you know, a movie comes out that's bad, that we agree is bad, and then they go, it's bad because they're putting all their attention on being woke instead of writing good scripts. No. Like, I could agree with that if the movie we're talking about, like, even take The Marvels, right? Which I think most of us agree was not a great movie.
Right.
Let's take The Marvels. Nothing in that movie is girl power. Nothing in that movie. There's not one line in that movie, not 1 ounce of dialogue in that entire movie that's about, if a man can do it, we can do it.
Or like they do something, they're like, girls do it better.
Yeah.
You know?
There's none of that in the movie. None of that in the movie. So if you think that the problem with the movie, what made it bad was that they had girls in it, it could have been 3 male characters. If it's the same movie, the problem was, and guess what? There are lots of movies that are horrible that have straight white male leads. They're not bad because they have white straight male leads. They just happen to be bad movies. Just as much as some movies that are bad that happen to have a female lead or a person of color or whatever in it. Like they want to quickly jump to say it's bad because they did that. It's like so you're saying if you swap them out for somebody else, the movie's magically good. And then you see the little smoke come out of their ears
Yeah.
because their brain circuits are.
Oh, there's
fried.
even in our chat, there's people that literally, they must have us on mute because they just ain't getting our message. They're like, this is just another movie that sells a message. Well, you're not listening to us, are you?
That's the question. What message?
Yeah, what message? Come on, genius. What message?
Like, this is the thing that frustrates me. And honestly, guys, I beg you, don't watch my channel. Don't watch me. If you think just the fact that a woman is present in a movie, that's a message, you need to go fuck off.
Yeah.
You just need to go fuck right off. You don't watch my show. I don't need you here. Now, we would be in some agreement, again, like the Supergirl CW show, right? I bring this up a lot. If you had that criticism about the Supergirl CW show, I would see where you're coming from, because there were many, many, many times in that movie, not that I think there was anything wrong that they did this, but you would be right. There were many times in that TV show when they had big speeches about, as a woman, I need to stand up to this, and the power I have as a woman, and blah, blah, blah. Like, if you wanted to levy that criticism against that show, I would say, well, yeah, that is there, and you are right to point it out. But in most of these movies, when stuff like this happens, it's just about the fact that a woman is even there.
Yeah.
Or that someone who's black is even there. Or somebody who is gay is even there.
And then they followed up, well, I don't have a problem with that. Well,
These
sounds like
fucking
you do.
losers. Here's the thing. This is where it gets infuriating to me. Because you just basically tipped your hand. You exposed your cards. You just have a problem. Your thing is you want the old agenda of keeping everybody else out. And the fact that these people are even given a place, well, that's a message. No, it's not. It's just saying they just have a place too. Your problem is that you still want the old agenda of keeping everyone else out. And when they're not keeping everyone else out, it threatens you because you're a frightened, scared little infantile child. And again, you point me a movie where there actually is a message and they're actually doing that, I'll say, okay, if that bothers you, I can see why that movie would bother you. But when it's a case of there was no message, it just happened to be women were there and we're in their role. Well, the very fact that they're there is sending a message. Okay, the message is you're weak.
Well, yeah,
You're a frightened little cowardly weakling. That's the message.
Someone, and I don't even know, they might just be like agreeing with us in some way or whatever, but someone wrote faster, better, stronger. Okay, first off, they pulled that from a Daft Punk song, which is in the thing. Faster, better, stronger doesn't say then men.
Yeah,
It just says
that's the thing.
faster, better, stronger together. Those three characters together.
And that was her slang. That was her saying already. It's just like, it's so weird seeing such fragile,
so
insecure little whiners find ways to be threatened. Even when there's nothing there to threaten them, they find ways to be threatened. And it's infuriating.
That's the only problem I have. I don't see any of the things that people see in the movie. It's why do you bring such negative energy to something that's just supposed to entertain me?
Because it's people bringing their politics into it.
I go to the movies for the entertainment. I don't need to hear that I'm going to learn or whatever. If I want to learn about something, I'll go to school and learn about it. You know what I mean? I don't need all the noise that like makes a movie going experience like make me feel bad about it. If I like a movie, it's gotten to the point where if I like a movie, you get attacked for it.
Look, yeah, it's just, again, it's this really dark, cancerous corner of fandom that is trying to bring their politics into it. It's like, hey, I want to make these movies and I want to have men in it and women in it and black people. I just want to tell stories and I'm going to have everybody be a part of it. And there are people that just threatens and scares and
Big
it's
time.
just whatever.
It's a short
Anyway,
life.
let's move on.
Let's
Let's move on. What's next?
All right. More on the topic, but we'll make it briefer. Robert writes, here come the basement dwellers with the MCU comments. If some of y'all did 2 minutes of Google search, you see that Shalabal was a character before the comics and nothing new. She's been around since 1968. 1968.
And again, nothing wrong with anybody who just feels a disappointment that one of their favorite characters isn't going to be in the movie. I get that. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. If you're feeling disappointment that, I really like this character and I was hoping that this character would be a part of this movie,
I'm
I
sure,
get that. We've all been there.
I'm sure people were like, I don't want Damien. I wanted
I wanted Jason.
Jason,
or
I wanted
the
the original.
Yeah, I wanted Master Grayson.
Yeah, Dick Grayson.
Or
you
I
know?
wanted, I wanted one of these. Sure. Look, again, there's nothing wrong with people who are today disappointed that
because I didn't really
one of
want
their
Damien
favorite
either.
characters isn't going to be in the movie.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with feeling disappointed about that. I would just say then to those friends of mine who feel disappointment that one of their favorite characters isn't going to be in the movie, don't let that close your mind. Like, be disappointed and then go see the movie and judge it on its own merits.
And you know who's gonna be in a movie, right?
Who?
The Sentry Baby. I don't care who plays him. They're bringing my guy.
Yeah, but it's not this movie.
I know. I'm just saying.
All right, what's next?
Suthia says, after recent episodes of Shogun, Japan invented shoes.
You have to have seen, oh my God, it was so brutal.
Oh, man.
For those of you who've seen the episode, you know what he's talking about. That was so brutal. Anyway, I'm not going to reveal anything, though. All right, what's next?
All right. CM Waters, film enthusiast, says Jones Fishburne's version of Silver Surfer is so definitive that I think the new film can be given room to experiment. Also, loved Garner in Ozark.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just what I would say. Look, we have empirical proof that putting the traditional Silver Surfer in a Fantastic Four movie doesn't mean that movie's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, logically, not having that traditional Silver Surfer in it will not automatically mean it's bad. So let's just see how it turns out.
And just looking at Garner's face structure and stuff like that, she has a great look. I can't wait to see how she looks as, morphed into like a Silver Surfer.
Yeah, and just again, like 3-time Emmy winning actress. And for the people who pretend to care about quality and they go, why can't they just focus on making a good movie? They just fucking went out and got a 3-time Emmy winner to play the role. What the fuck do you want? Anyway. All right, what's
you're
next?
In attack mode right now.
He's got that dog in him.
You got that dog.
Damaris Love says, do these people know it's an alternate universe where Fantastic Four come from Californians and kids, I swear.
Listen, and you got to give some room. This is not, Shalal Ball is not a famous character. So you got to give some room to people because understandably, there are going to be some people out there that hear about this and instantly will think, oh, they gender swapped Silver Surfer. I don't think you should be mad about that, but I understand that there are going to be people out there that probably that's their first thought. And that's understandable because not a lot of people, very, very few people have ever even heard of this character. Nothing wrong with that. Totally get it. So no, I would say that a lot of them didn't know. And that's perfectly okay because it's a pretty obscure character. So I get that, but you got to learn. You didn't know at first, but now you do. So let's move on.
And I actually like that Marvel has missed lately on obscure characters for a lot of the times lately. But I do like the fact that they're bringing out these characters because if they feel they want to introduce it in the MCU, they're important somewhat, right? And
well, it depends on what their story is. It all depends on what their story is.
And I didn't have time to read all the comics back then, so.
All right, what's next?
Let's see. I think Joseph SFL. What are your thoughts on the upcoming Christmas movie, Man with the Bag, with Ellen Richardson and Arnold Schwarzenegger? Sounds like a fun premise.
I know nothing about it.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it when it was first announced a long time ago. But other than that, I really don't know anything about it. All I know is that sadly, nobody goes to see Arnold Schwarzenegger in the movies anymore. And that's a shame because I think he's just gotten better. I really do. Anyway, all right, what's next?
We got Matan who says, if Disney wants to be serious about the succession plan, they should not let Iger be involved as he chose Chapek and maybe bring an outsider just to bring a different flow, like less remakes.
Here's the thing. First of all, remakes like what? Aladdin that made $1 billion? Remakes like what? The Lion King that made $1 billion? Anyway, look, the selection of Bob Chapek was clearly a mistake. Everybody knows that now, right? But at the time, on paper, he was a sound choice. In theory, Bob Chapek was a sound choice. He had been with the company a long time. He'd been involved in leadership in different areas of the company. And that's why, as much as I grew to hate his CEO-ship of Disney, at first I was like, yeah, that seems like a pretty good pick. Again, to use a poker analogy, you don't have to play poker to know that pocket aces is the best hand you can have, right? If you got pocket aces and somebody goes all in, theoretically, the right decision is to call. Go all in. You got pocket aces. You have the absolute best starting hand in poker. And if somebody pushes all in, the right decision is to call. But guess what? You could still lose. One of the unfortunate truths in life, and I learn this more and more and more the older I get. One of the really unfortunate truths in life is that you can sometimes do what seems to be the right thing and have it go wrong and it not work out. Bob Chapek on paper was a solid choice, and it didn't work. It didn't work. But that doesn't mean I think that the Disney board was clueless when they selected it. I mean, they got to own responsibility for the fact that they did it, and it did end up being a disaster. But all you can do is get all the information you can and then make the best decision possible. After that, it's out of your hands. And maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Listen, George Lucas handpicked Kathleen Kennedy to run Lucasfilm. And on paper, she's one of the greatest. Steven Spielberg calls her the greatest producer in the history of Hollywood. And she's got a resume to back it up. Hasn't worked out. Does that mean George Lucas was clueless when picking Kathleen Kennedy? No. Does it mean that Disney was wrong to support Lucas's decision? No. On paper, it was the right decision.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work out.
If you were looking at that resume, you'd be like, yes.
Yeah, when you can't hold up anybody's resumes to Kathleen Kennedy's. But being a producer and being the head of a studio are two different things. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, when they first said that George Lucas picked her, I was like, right on. This is a great choice. But then you got to actually see how it plays out. And it turns out it wasn't such a great choice. But anyway, all right, what's next?
We got Andy. Captain America, the Winter Soldier came out exactly 10 years ago, and it's still one of my favorites.
Sorry, say that again?
The Winter Soldier came out 10 years ago.
Oh my God, is that 10 years?
Yeah. I kind of go between Ragnarok and Winter Soldier as my favorite standalones.
I remember I remember the theater I was at was the AMC Century City out near Santa Monica when I went to go see the first press screening of that. And I think Roth Cornett went with me. I think it was me and Roth were there.
Oh, okay.
And I still remember coming out of that movie just, what's the word?
Gobsmacked. I don't know.
Flabbergasted? I don't know. Gobsmacked. That's what I came out of that movie just gobsmacked. I'm like, what the hell did we just see? Like, so incredible.
Yeah.
Oh.
I saw that at iPick.
All right. What's next?
Andy has a two-parter here. I saw 12 movies that came out last month, and 7 of them, Cabrini, One Life, Love Lies Bleeding, Problemista, Late Night with the Devil, Immaculate, and In the Land of Saints and Sinners, were original films. I think I'm going to update the end of each month now, or update at the end of each month of how many films I saw. Man, you are busy.
And by the way, thank you, Andy, for pointing at that out. Like whenever like a sequel or a reboot comes along, people say, that's all Hollywood does anymore. They do nothing but remakes now. That's cool to say if you don't care about facts. Mm-hmm. The reality is more original film. This is not feels like, go do the math and do the numbers. Go look up the reports. There is more original films made today than in any other time in Hollywood history. Maybe not in the past 12 months because there were strikes and all that kind of stuff. But prior to that, more original films are made today than in any other time in Hollywood history. People just don't go see them. Hollywood keeps trying to give original ideas, original IP, original new stories. But very few of them people actually jump on and get involved with. And then those same people who don't go to see the original films, well, they'll stand up and go, Hollywood doesn't do anything original anymore. But yeah, they do. They do tons of original stuff. We just got to get out there and see them. I'm glad you are, Andy. All right, what's next?
Matan says, Iger doubling down on remakes, let alone remaking the 2010s, is the number one reason why New Blood is needed. Well, we've already answered that one, but I don't think he likes the remakes.
Well, he hasn't doubled down. Which remakes? Like when you say doubled down, like
Maybe the announcements they had recently.
like we've got sequels.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Should they not do a sequel to a $1 billion Toy Story franchise? Should they not do a sequel to a multi-billion dollar Frozen franchise? Should they not do this as a part of everything else that they're doing? Listen, you got a responsibility to shareholders as well. These have been great movies, great franchises that have yielded great financial results. Of course, you spend a part of your energy and time to make those. I think it was the right decision. All right, what's next?
Amia says, hey, crew, what is the hardest and most annoying thing about reading comics? How would you fix it? I don't know if there's a hard or annoying one.
Here's where it came for me. I remember I was still at Collider, and I was buying like the new. It wasn't the Star Wars comics' fault. I'm just saying it just happened to happen when I was picking up some Star Wars comics, and I sat down and I read the one, and I realized that took me 7 minutes to read, but cost me like almost $7.
Yep.
After taxes and stuff. If a movie cost me $7 for every $1 a minute, I'd be spending $120 just for myself to go see a movie. And so it kind of became a cost thing for me that I realized I'm spending a lot of money on things that I'm only experiencing for about 5 to 10 minutes. That sounds like you're talking about visiting a brothel. But what I mean is that like I'm literally dropping that much money. The dollar per minute of experience and enjoyment was very, very expensive. And I think that for me kind of became the expensive thing. By the way, I just want to point out, I think it was VHS in the live chat mentioned, it was VHS in the live chat said, do we really need Toy Story 5? I just want to remind everybody, that's what everybody said when they were announcing they were doing Toy Story 2. And I want to remind everybody that that's exactly what everybody said when they announced they were doing Toy Story 3, which actually ended up being the best one of the franchise. But everybody said when they're doing Toy Story 3, we don't need a Toy Story 3. End up being the best of the franchise. And then everybody said the same thing again when they did Toy Story 4. And while Toy Story 4 was not as good as Toy Story 3, I really love that movie. I really enjoyed it. And it made a lot of money. So I just want to remind everybody that it's a pointless question to ask, do we really need that movie? There's never been a film made in cinematic history that needed to be made. Just, did it end up being good? And did it end up being successful? And did it end up having value after the fact? But no film ever made needed to be made. I just want to kind of say that. All right, what's next?
Kevin's with a $50 super chat.
Kevin.
Wow, Kevin, thank you, man.
Hey, John and crew, I was wondering, what is the sweet spot for a fight scene as far as length is concerned? I mean, how long is too long? My short film is mainly an action short with some story elements. Thanks.
It depends on if the fight... A good example of this is some James Bond films. Because let's take out the word fight and replace it with action. All right. There are some very long action sequences in a couple of James Bond films, but here's what makes them feel short, is that the locale and the nature of the action changes, right? So let's take a great example. I know many of you haven't seen this movie, but there's a great Rowdy Roddy Piper movie called They Live.
When I saw this question, it was what I thought.
Is that the first thing that came to your head?
Yep.
Right? Now, there's a fight in an alley between Roddy Piper and it's a one location fight. And it's a good length fight, but you can't drag that fight out too long because it becomes a little bit monotonous. However, let's take an action sequence like the airport in Civil War. The viewer was constantly being changed in their gears. Like 1 minute, we're seeing Hawkeye and T'Challa beginning to fight. And then, in another scene, we see Hawkeye and Black Widow, where they also then share some witty banters, like, You are coming over for dinner, right? Or something, whatever that line was. Then later, we have a totally different natured fight going on between Winter Soldier, Falcon, and Spider-Man. Right. It's like, whoa, you have a metal arm, and that different things. Then we got another scene. They totally changes gears again. Now we got Ant-Man turning into Giant Man and do right. It was a very long action sequence, but it's one that always was changing gears. And so I would say that's kind of the defining factor. If you've got an action scene that starts to get long, it better be one that changes gears a lot, whether it's between changing combatants, changing locations, changing the nature of the fight, changing what's at stake in the fight. A great example of that. One of the greatest action sequences of all time, my absolute favorite scene of all time, the Emperor's throne room at the end of Return of the Jedi, right? While it is Luke and Vader, things are changing, right? At first, it's just strike me down with your hatred, all that kind of stuff. Okay, now they're going to fight. But then they change the stakes, because then you got Vader being an asshole going like, sister, so you have a twin sister. If you cannot be turned, maybe she will. And now Luke is all pissed off about something completely different. The nature of the scene changes, right? So if the longer you go, I think you got to make sure the scene's changing gears. All right, what's next?
We got Andy who says, hey, Ray, was I too stoned or was last week's WWE Raw one of the best episodes ever? All of it was great, and I buy the Punk Rollins and Drew hate triangle.
Oh, yeah. It was a really good Raw.
Who's Drew? Drew McIntyre?
Drew McIntyre.
Oh, he's relevant again?
Yeah, but his mic battles with CM Punk are pretty good. He comes at it at a different way. Because CM Punk, if you
CM Punk is back in WWE.
Yeah, well, he's
now.
just talking.
Okay.
He's talking. He's injured. But they were going back and forth, and I was like, Drew is not going to be able to win this. But
because Punk's really good on the mic.
But Drew went at it at such a corny way that it was actually, I think they at least tied, at least.
That dude's a beast.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre, he's a beast.
And I think he's going to beat Seth Rollins. They're going to put a title on him.
All right, what's next?
Kevin's is back and says, also found a badass cave in the desert. That is where I will be filming my scene from Dune Part 2.
Scouting locations is always a big part of any filming.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Andy says, on Monday's open mic, I learned from John that the best thing to do with a group of friends is play D&D or have orgies, apparently.
I don't remember saying that.
Are you speaking from experience, John?
I don't believe I said...
Did you say that?
I don't believe I said that.
Well, you know what?
I remember talking about Dungeons and Dragons.
Well...
Where did orgies come up? I can't... What did I say?
You know
I don't...
What? You're on your own in this one.
I mean, maybe you were talking about the game for like Baldur's Gate.
I mean, maybe I dropped a joke where I said, because I remember talking about the actual getting friends together and doing a tabletop role-playing game experience. It's the best thing. I could see myself dropping a joke about there's nothing better you can do with a group of friends other than maybe an orgy. Like maybe I dropped that as a joke, but I don't remember that. Maybe. It's true, though. All right.
69, dudes!
What's next?
Daniel Vasquez says 4 days away for CinemaCon. Can't wait to see you guys again. Who's going this year, and when should we expect a CinemaCon 24 preview beforehand?
I don't think we're going to be doing a preview because it is just coming up,
and it's a tight weekend right now.
The schedule is really packed, and we are going to try to do something this year that we haven't done. And this year it's just me, Ray, and Ann going. Unfortunately, Rob's press credential application got denied.
Denied.
Why did you laugh?
I don't know.
Why was your first reaction to laugh at that?
Because I have this imagination where they're like, Robert Meyer Burnett, denied. But I know that's not even that's not even how it works.
Just they got the big red stamp, denied.
I feel bad for him, though. He should have been able to go.
At any rate, we're actually going to... One of the things we never do at CinemaCon is go to the parties. Or very rarely, because there are parties every night. And this year kind of decided, you know what, we should really go to some of these, because the studios, after their presentations, they usually have these after presentation parties and stuff like that. And normally we just go straight back to the room and do a recap video of the presentation. What I think we're going to do this year is after the studio presentation is done, let's say the Disney one is done, I think we will then go to the party for like 45 minutes, go have some food, have some drinks, whatever, enjoy the party a bit, and then go back to the room and do a live stream giving the recap. So I think that's going to be one of the differences this year. All right, what's next?
Okay. Robert also follows up and says they can make Shalabal's origin the same as Norin's. Someone saves their planet and love one from extinction. Not saying they will, but still. They might, but I think they'll just stick with her origin.
Yeah, listen, there's no reason. Look, I could totally see them giving her a new origin. I could totally see that. But I can also see them having her comic story origin.
Yeah.
Like talking, maybe it doesn't even get brought up in the movie, but maybe it's alluded to that she had a lover that initially she got this power cosmic from. Like just a little reference. Don't even say Rad's name. Just like, I once had a lover who in an attempt to save my world passed some of this power on to me. Like just a passing reference, right? Again, I don't know what they're going to do, but it is something that's on the table and is possible. All right, what's next?
Okay, let me bring up we're going to hear from our members now. 1 second. Okay. Oh, King Daddy Goat says, hey, crew, so hyped to be here today, celebrating 3 years of sobriety. Congratulations.
Oh, congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Man.
I cannot tell you how proud I am. Anyway, bring on the Silver Surfer. Most people have been upset, but she kicks ass in Ozark. I'm happy with this casting. Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
At the end of the day, no matter how good of an actress she is, or if they had gone with the Rand Silver Surfer or whatever, if they don't write a good script, it won't matter. And if they do write a good script, it won't matter, right? They got to get a good script and they got to get a good story and something good for this character to do, whether the character's name is Silver Surfer, whether the character's name is Shalal Ball, whether the character's name is Oopie the Lump Nut. I don't care.
Oopie's back.
Oh, I'm hoping
Oopie's
they could
back,
do that.
baby.
Back, baby.
That is a great
Oopie
storyline.
the Lump Nut. It does, like, right, you got to get a good script, and that's going to be the key to this. All right.
Sounds like a disease, actually. A lump nut.
Yeah, probably not a good thing to have. All right, what's next?
Boy. Logan says, do you skip the intro to Shogun or let it play? I think the score feels more like a Westworld vibe, but I still love it and enjoy the sand and rock visuals.
Can I just say this? I hate the intros to all TV shows today, except for Peacemaker. They're all the same. It's every single show is the exact same. Even Three Body Problem.
Oh, yeah.
It's like some abstract thing. Like even Daredevil is. It's like, oh, the close up of a mask that goes into this. Like they're
Lady Justice.
all the same now.
Yeah.
I do not skip the intro to Shogun because for whatever reason I don't get the option.
Oh,
A lot of the streaming services skip intro. If it did give me the option, I would skip the intro.
That would be
But
dishonorable.
it would be dishonorable.
speaking of Three Body Problem, that intro is actually really short. If you just blink a second, it's just you could get into the episode. So, yeah.
Now, I will make one. Somebody mentioned House of the Dragon in there, and I can't remember, but like Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
And the thing that was different about the intro to Game of Thrones, besides the fact that it's some of the most iconic show music
Oh, yeah.
ever, was they were kind of telling you the story in that opening,
Yeah.
right?
They showed you who's involved.
showing the different kingdoms and when like blood would flow. Anyway, yeah, there's that. All right, what's next?
Okay. Moist Brownie. Thoughts on the newest X-Men 97 episode. The Jubilee video game plot was kind of fun, but the stuff with Storm at the tail end felt really rushed and should have had its own dedicated episode or maybe a couple.
I didn't see it.
I haven't seen it
No,
either.
I'm not caught up.
Yeah.
So I didn't see it.
We started but couldn't finish it, but I do think they need to like slow the pace down a little bit. I agree.
All right, what's next?
Harry O'Bagel says,
Harry O'Bagel.
we just gonna keep getting ready. I heard the rumor years ago that cinema canceled the Fantastic Four comic as a way to not giving any stories to the rival studio to use. Do you see any truth to this? No, I don't.
Zero. They already had
one-
like 60 years of
Yeah.
comic stories.
No one was reading it.
No, that was the problem. I mean, and they released the numbers. Like literally nobody was reading. I still remember when it was me, John Schnepp, I think Harloff was on there with us, and this came up, and we looked at the numbers, and like Schnepp, who is a lifelong Fantastic Four fan, like Schnepp was like, nobody reads this comic. I mean, that's just the problem with it. And again, I could see them doing that if it was a brand new characters, but they literally already had 60 years of story archive they could have gone through. So no, I don't listen. Kevin Feige never called me to tell me this directly, so I'm just guessing, but I would have a very hard time believing that. I don't think there's any truth to it at all. All right, what's next?
We don't get asked about this much. Thoughts on the movie Secondhand Lions? I really liked it.
Oh, I like that movie.
Yeah, a lot growing up, but haven't seen it in a long time. Two legends, Michael Caine and Robert
And who
Duvall.
was the kid? Who was the kid in that?
That I got to look up.
It's a name we'll all know. I just remember it's somebody significant.
What's
Yeah.
that movie called again?
Secondhand
Lions.
And oh God, who was the kid in that? It's
Haley Joel Osment.
Yep, that's who it was. It's a really good movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not one that gets brought up a lot,
No.
but yeah, that was a tremendous movie. I really like that one a lot. And you know what? Because it's dialogue driven. I love a good movie that can be dialogue driven. It reminds me like King's Speech and stuff like that. I really love it when a movie can do that well. All right, what's next?
John Lee says, are you going to do live streams after CinemaCon presentations next week?
Yes, we are. Again, they won't be immediate because we are going to go to the after parties
Yeah.
for them first for like a half hour, 45 minutes, and then go back. So yes, live streams every day from our hotel room at Caesar's Palace to talk about the presentations, 100%.
Plus, you guys got to eat.
And we got to eat.
People don't realize it can be exhausting running back and forth.
Like,
Really?
not
Do I
even
really need that?
joking. Like it's a lot of running around
Yeah.
at CinemaCon. It's a good thing. It's totally a good thing.
Sure.
Great problem to have. But oftentimes there are many days at CinemaCon where it's like, we like go out to eat something at 10 p.m. and then like half of us realize, oh yeah, this is the first time we've eaten today, just because of everything going on, right? And
Everything's
so
back to
get some
back,
free
dude.
food.
Yeah.
Free food in Vegas is always good. All right, what's next?
Disney Freak says the season 2 finale of Invincible came out today. Did you get a chance to watch it? I personally didn't like season 2 as much as the first.
I've mentioned this before. I watched the first half of season 2. I didn't love it. Now, I do intend to get caught up and watch the second half of season 2. I totally intend to do it. But like the first half of season 2, I didn't think sucked. I just found underwhelming. That's all. And so I never felt this urgency to watch the second half of season 2 yet. So I haven't seen the second half yet. I'll probably do that in the next couple of weeks. So maybe I'll do it, when I'm in Vegas or something and I've got some downtime. Maybe I'll pop it on my laptop when I'm going to bed or something. All right, what's next?
Joe Howland says, hey, John and crew, hope you're all having a great day. My question is, do you think at CinemaCon, one of the movies they show will be The Crow? Thanks for bringing on the filthy baby.
No, and I'll tell you what else. Originally, they said there were going to be 3 screenings. I think 1 or 2 of the screenings got canceled.
That's too bad.
Now, here's the thing. One of the movies that's coming up is Furiosa. And CinemaCon just announced they're giving, I think, the Director of the Year award to George Miller, who's the director of Furiosa. So that, so Rob texted me instantly, they're definitely going to show Furiosa at CinemaCon if they're going to give this award to George Miller, and we're right around the corner from the movie coming out. And that's totally sound deduction by Rob on that point. But then I looked around and I looked at the schedule of CinemaCon. I was like, I don't see where they would show it. There's nothing in the schedule for it to show. And so I don't know if we're going to, I definitely know we're getting Fall Guy, which I cannot wait to see. And I think Neon has like a comedy called Buddies. I think that's what, I can't remember. I think it's called Buddies. So Neon has a screening as well, but that's one of the smaller ones. But I don't know if any of the other major studios are doing a screening this year. I know they were going to, but maybe they've been pulled, or maybe it's just they're going to pop it out of nowhere. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. All right, what's next? Oh, and then Ron H is right. It wasn't Buddies, it's Babes. I think he's right. Okay, what's next?
All right. CLS Rock says they're doing a Kubrick film fest at Cineplex. John, what is your favorite Kubrick film? Mine is Shining, but I've seen Eyes Wide Shut more number of times.
Well, I mean, how do you not do 2001? Eyes Wide Shut is a deeply provocative film. 100%. And lots of filthy. Love the filthy. Bring on the filthy. Lots and lots of filthy.
Hey, man, jeez.
You're going to make me push the button, man.
But I mean, I gotta go 2001.
Really?
Yeah, for me.
Yeah, I think I'm drawn more to The Shining and then Full Metal Jacket. That was Kubrick, right?
yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right. Saudul says, did you see the trailer for Tales of the Empire? What are your thoughts?
They're shorts. Don't really care. I mean, so somebody, my friend sent me a text message with the link into it when it first dropped. I'm like, oh, I haven't even heard of this. And I'm watching it. I thought, oh, this looks like it could be interesting. It's a prequel of Ansbeth, whatever
Right.
the character's name
From
is.
Ahsoka.
From Ahsoka. And from Mandalorian first, I
Mandalorian,
suppose.
right?
I thought, oh, I like this character, so yeah, maybe this will be interesting. But then it's this 2 stories. Okay, so they're jumping back and forth between 2 different stories. And then I see that it was shorts. And I'm like,
Yeah, that was a bummer.
don't get me wrong. If I'm sitting around and I'm scrolling through the streaming services looking for something to watch, and I'm on Disney Plus and I see it, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll probably go. Yeah,
I
I
mean,
got 10 minutes.
All I
I'll
can
watch
think of
one.
is
but-
I Am Groot shorts. Those are shorts too, so it
Yeah.
all depends.
Well, it's not gonna be that. Yeah, I think it'll be a little more fleshed out.
I
Than
think
that.
it'll be more like
Visions.
Visions of Star Wars Visions. I think it'll be probably more like that. They'll probably be like 5 to 10
Yeah.
minutes long. Or
I got
something.
excited because it looked like Rebels, and I was like, "Cool,
Yes,
a return
and
to
I loved
Rebels.
Rebels.
And then again,
I
was
really
like,
loved Rebels.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Wesley Cunningham says, checking out Monkey Man tonight. Dev Patel has had an interesting career. You normally directorial debuts being these personal dramas, but Dev said, "Nah, I want to axe kick somebody." Over under 14 opening.
I'm gonna go under. I think it's gonna be. I think 14 is the perfect number. I think that's. I actually think right on the money.
Yeah, I see at.
Yeah,
That's in the money
so,
right there.
So let's say 14.5555. Over under that. I'm gonna go under.
Yeah.
But not by much. I hope it's more. Look, I'm gonna go see the movie in what time is it now? I'm gonna go see the movie in 4 hours.
Okay, cool.
And I'm stoked. But no, this is a great kind of film to do as your first directorial debut, right? It's a very smaller budget film. It was made very indie style. When you hear him tell the story about all the nightmares he went through trying to get this movie made, he even had to do they would break tables and then they'd literally get in a crew to quickly put try to reassemble the tables and put them back together because they needed the table to break in another scene as well. I mean, it was crazy. And this is the exact kind of movie that a first-time director should do. Smaller budget, whether it's action or drama, doesn't matter. Smaller budget, indie run-and-gun filmmaking style. This is where you cut your teeth. I think it's a great project for him to do. And I'm very excited about seeing the movie tonight. Can't wait. All right, what's next?
Harrison asks, do you think we'll see more footage for Wicked at CinemaCon next week?
Yes. They showed us a great 10, 15-minute presentation of it last year. And it was the presentation that I couldn't give 2 craps about, what's the name of it again?
Wicked.
Wicked. See, that's how little importance it has to me. I
Great
couldn't
sign for
give
Wicked.
2 craps about Wicked.
What's the movie?
And then they showed us this presentation, and I remember Rob was in the same boat as me, didn't really care about it. And then they showed that presentation, we were like, damn, it looks really good.
And I learned a valuable lesson.
What was that? Don't
Never
go to the bathroom.
hold your pee and go do
That's right,
it.
you missed it because you had to go
I
to the
missed
bathroom.
the whole presentation. I came back and your guys' faces were like, "That was amazing." I was like, "Oh my god, why did I?" Oh man,
What'd I miss?
the decisions I made.
So yes, I do suspect we're going to get more footage of Wicked there. We're going to get a lot of footage this year, I think, because sometimes the studio presentations are an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them this year are minimum 2 hours long.
Oh jeez.
Disney's is 2.5. Disney's is 2.5 hours long.
Oh, they got to make up for last year.
You had a short one, but yeah. So I think we're going to get a lot of footage of a lot of movies this year. All right, what's next?
Logan Vaughn says, could they still make a Bumblebee 2, pick up with Haley Steinfeld and John Cena a decade after the first movie, and have Bumblebee re-enter her life?
They could, but Transformers Rise of the Beast has hurt their chances. Because they just got people off the bandwagon. You had Bumblebee come out. They should, hindsight is 2020. I totally get it. But they should have made Bumblebee 2. They should not have made Transformers Rise of the Beast, a movie, again, that just looks like another Michael Bay movie. They should have capitalized on the momentum of that first Bumblebee, the fact that everybody loved it. That's what they should have done. I fear that it's too late now to do a sequel because Haley Steinfeld has just gotten bigger.
Mm-hmm.
John Cena's just gotten bigger. And they kind of downgraded the overall value of the Transformers property again with Rise of the Beast. A movie that, by the way, I didn't mind. I kind of had a good time with Rise of the
it was
Beast.
a good time, but
But it was nowhere near as good as Bumblebee.
And it had nothing. There's no remnants of Bumblebee was seen in that. Even if they had Bumblebee in Rise of the Beast, there's nothing from the Bumblebee movie that transferred over. Really, the theme, the grounded, on Earth theme, they went balls to the wall again. So I don't know.
All right, what's next?
Okay. CCTV says WrestleMania weekend, baby.
Yeah.
Ray, I know you'll be watching. Well, not with that enthusiasm.
I know.
What about the rest of the crew? Not myself.
Well, see, here's the problem. What day is WrestleMania? It's Saturday and Sunday,
No,
right?
I was already talking about it yesterday. I was like, oh, that sucks. We'll probably be on the road or we'll be in Vegas by then.
Well, because WrestleMania is Saturday and Sunday,
night
right?
one, night two.
Okay, so Saturday is my wife's birthday party.
Right.
It's Ann's birthday, Ray's sister, my wife. It's her birthday party, and that's going to be a big deal. And then even while that's going on, our theater room is spoken for because our brother-in-law, Stan, it's also the Final Four weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And he's already kind of booked our theater room to watch the Final Four basketball because our brother-in-law, Stan, played NCAA basketball.
Right.
So he's a huge basketball fan. Probably would have gone to the NBA if it wasn't for his injury.
Yeah.
But so that's there. So we're really, and then Sunday we're going to be on the road going to Vegas for
Yeah.
CinemaCon. So we're probably not going to see much of
I'm gonna have
WrestleMania.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do a lot of YouTube highlights or
A
something.
lot of YouTube highlights. All right, what's next?
Ken says, hey, John and crew, what's everyone's favorite ride at Disneyland, Universal Studios, Hollywood?
At the crap hole that is Satan's anus, known as Disneyland, the Indiana Jones ride. Listen. There's so much I hate about Disneyland. F that place.
I couldn't tell.
F that place right in its stupid mouse face.
Okay.
But I gotta say, give credit where it's due. I think that Indiana Jones ride is something special. It's really fun. At Universal Studios Hollywood, I know this is going to sound weird and boring, but it doesn't matter. I do it every time we go. The studio tour. When I go to Universal Studios Hollywood, I love getting on that tram, seeing all these locations, even though I've seen them all now about 15 times. It doesn't matter. Seeing these locations where these iconic, legendary movie scenes were shot. And then, of course, they have the ride aspect with the King Kong feature and the Fast and the Furious feature and all that. And having Jaws coming up. Like, I just, every time I feel like I'm doing a Hollywood time warp when I do it. So even though it is hardly classified as a ride, the studio tram tour to me at Universal Hollywood is still my favorite thing. Do you got a favorite?
Harry Potter ride and the Homer Simpson Big Donut eating ride. And then at Disneyland, I haven't been there in so long. I want to go back, but the last I remember, it was the haunted house.
Go with Ann. She would love for you to go with her.
It's just one of those things where it's kind of like, you know how you get those passes, those 3-day passes, and
Yeah.
then you see the price, and then you're like, and then you look at the price of like the Magic Key, and it's kind of like the dilemma
Yeah,
of,
I
do I
could
want
buy
to
a
go one time?
car or I
Yeah.
could go to Disneyland for an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. This seems to be the choice. All right, what's next?
Sean Motley says, one more thing. I am Team Godzilla all the way. Kong is a troublemaker.
Kong is king. Kong's the one who's actually trying to save the world. He's trying to explain to Godzilla, no, we can't fight. There's a bigger problem, Godzilla. And Godzilla decided to turn shit. So you know what Kong did? Knocked him the fuck out.
Yeah, but you know what?
Turned off the lights.
A couple moments before that, did you see his face when Godzilla jumped off that thing?
Oh, he was like, no.
That was one of those-
We got to be doing something else.
We thought he was going to water. He was just jumping. What a fun movie.
I had such a good time with that movie.
Yeah, that's something
it's so stupid.
Yeah, that's something you play at a party.
Yeah,
when
it's
people
so
aren't really
stupid,
paying
but I
attention.
love it.
Yeah, it's a great party movie.
All right, what's next?
Dominic Suma says, I'm hoping the next MonsterVerse movie isn't done by Adam Wingard. Liked his take, but I personally appreciate the tone of Godzilla 14 and King of the Monsters a bit more. A more serious, darker tone.
Problem is, I hated Godzilla King of the Monsters. I didn't like the movie at all, and there were so many problems with the first one, like a lack of Godzilla in it. But
I think
I'm totally good with him doing another one. Although, let me bring this, because I saw somebody bring this up in the thing, and this has been a debate I've been having with people online for a while regarding Godzilla and Kong. Like, yeah, Kong knocked out Godzilla, but they needed to give Kong this metal fist thing. That's bullshit that they had to give. They give him that advantage. And I said, I'm sorry. But every decade or two, they keep giving new superpowers to Godzilla. Like every couple of decades, a new superpower is added to what Godzilla does. So it's totally cool that Godzilla gets these superpowers heaped on him, but King Kong gets a metal glove, and that's unfair. Cry me a river.
And look, to answer the guy's question, those Godzilla movies he likes, those were solo movies. So when they go back to maybe the next Godzilla, just Godzilla itself, maybe they'll go back to the theme that you like.
Well, and Adam Wingard has said that if he does do another one with Godzilla and Kong, he said the next one, because this one was a little more Kong-centric, he said the next one will be a little bit more Godzilla-centered. Okay. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with that. All right, what's next?
We got Dylan's dialogue. Hey there, John. What's your favorite video game of all time? I can't decide between Last of Us or Mass Effect 2.
I go back and forth between World of Warcraft, which I've spent, I think without exaggeration, if you add up all the hours that I play World of Warcraft, it equates to years. I played a lot of World of Warcraft. And a combination of X-Wing, TIE Fighter, and X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. I had a ridiculous number of hours that I played those games. So those are probably my two favorites.
My favorite was Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh, I love that one
and,
too. Yeah.
As in thinking wise, after I finished it, Life is Strange, and just fun, balls to the wall wise, it's Just Cause 3.
Oh, I know. You loved that game. All right, what's next?
Hey, John and crew, what would you say is the greatest TV or movie and TV show to come out of Canada? Bring on the filthy. Personally, I would go Kids in the Hall, or, as a kid, you can't do that on television.
You know, I did a radio show in Canada with one of the guys from Kids in the Hall.
I love Kids in the Hall.
Kids in the Hall were fantastic.
Yeah.
But, Joe Flaherty just died. SCTV.
Yep.
I mean, it's great. Best show to, a lot of people would say Degrassi. I grew up with this show that nobody watched called Beachcombers. But I might have to go more modern and on TV side say either Schitt's Creek or Kim's Convenience. I mean, Schitt's Creek became the first television show ever to completely sweep the major categories of the Oscars. Schitt's Creek won Best Actor. It won Best Actress.
Oscars or Emmys?
Emmy, sorry.
Okay.
It won Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Writing, Best Directing, Best Show. It became the first show in television history to sweep all of them in the same year. It is truly a remarkable television show that still many, many people have never watched. Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara. You got to watch it. It's just so, so good. Best movie to come out of Canada. It depends on what your definition is of what came out of Canada. If you're talking about a movie that starred Canadians, well, then you got a massive, massive list. Because the only movie I can think of off the top of my head that like directly came out of Canada was Bob and Doug McKenzie's Great White North. Strange Brew was what the name of the movie was. Like that's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head. But TV, Kim's Convenience, Schitt's Creek, Letterkenny, Degrassi. I mean, there's a whole bunch of those. All right, last one of the day. What's next?
Let's see. I think that might have actually been it. Let's see. Oh, just what we say. Mysterion says Julia G as Silver Surfer would be cool. I don't know who Julia G is though.
Julie Garner, the girl who's going to be,
gotcha, yeah.
Julie Garner, 3-time Emmy Award winner.
Baby.
3-time Emmy Award winner.
Well, will be cool, not would be.
So we'll see. It all depends on if they write the character well.
Yeah.
I mean, we know she will be able to act the shit out of it. But now the question is, do they write the character well? And that's all that matters. Because if they don't write the character well, doesn't matter if it's the Ball Silver Surfer, doesn't matter if it's the Rad Silver Surfer, won't matter. All that matters is do they write the character well, and we'll see if they do. And all right, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here and making this little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in questions, whether you're one of our beloved YouTube channel members or you use the super chat feature to send it in. Because number one, you gave us fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys so very much for your support. Don't forget to come back and join us tomorrow. A very rare thing. We got Robert Meyer Burnett on for a Friday tomorrow. So Rob will be here with us. Make sure you come on back and join us. That'll do it for us for now, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. My name's John Campea. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.